What would you do for your family when faced with adversity? Would you give up your dreams, your plans, your only savings? This is a true story of a brother whose quiet sacrifice turned despair into hope. For a sister on the edge of giving up, Aisha had always been strong. Growing up, she was a responsible one, the kind of girl who got things done, no matter what. But life, as it often does, had other plans. At 32, she found herself abandoned, jobless, and struggling to raise two children in a city that never slowed down for anyone. Her husband had left without warning. No explanation, no child support, just a note that said, "I can't do this anymore." With no one else to turn to, she was suddenly alone, but not completely. Imran, her younger brother, was just 24, carefree, full of life, and trying to carve out a future for himself. He had plans to move abroad, earn well, and maybe even build something for the future. But one phone call from Aisha changed everything. Aisha moved into a tiny one-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of the city. Rent was cheap, but so was the water pressure and the security. She took a receptionist job at a local clinic during the day and cleaned offices at night. Her kids, 6 and 9, barely saw her. She was always tired, always anxious. Bills stacked up like bricks on her chest. School fees, electricity, medical bills, there just wasn't enough. Worse, the loneliness crept in. The friends who used to visit stopped coming. Family members offered words, but little else. And every night, Aisha would cry herself to sleep, muffling the sound so her children wouldn't hear. Imran visited on weekends, bringing snacks to the kids and pretending not to notice how thin his sister had become. But one night, he arrived unannounced and found Aisha sitting in the dark. Power had been cut. She was too ashamed to ask for help. That night, Imran made a decision that would change both their lives. Imran had always admired his sister. She had taken care of him when their father passed away. She had given up her college dreams so he could finish school. And now, watching her suffer in silence, it broke something inside him. He was working as a junior mechanic and attending night school, hoping to finish his engineering diploma. He had saved for over a year, with plans to move to Dubai where a job offer was waiting. But after that night, he couldn't focus. He couldn't imagine leaving when his sister was drowning. So he quietly stopped paying his college fees. He canceled the passport processing. He took on extra shifts, fixing cars by day, delivering food at night. And without telling her, he started paying off her rent, month by month. He told Aisha he was just helping out a little. She resisted at first, pride in her eyes, but Imran was gentle. "It's just temporary," he'd say with a smile. "You'll pay me back when you're rich." What she didn't know was that Imran was living on instant noodles and sleeping on a friend's floor. Every spare rupee went to her and the kids. A year later, on Aisha's birthday, she came home from her shift to a surprise. The lights were on. The kids were dressed and giggling. The apartment was clean, and on the small table, a single chocolate cake waited with 3 candles. Imran handed her an envelope. Inside was a certificate of admission to a professional office administration course, something she had once dreamed of doing but never thought possible again. "I paid for it in full," he said, grinning. Aisha froze. "Imran, how?" He shrugged. "Sold my bike, and I had some savings." She sat down, stunned. That bike, his only prized possession, the one thing he had worked so hard for, gone. Tears welled in her eyes. "Why would you do this?" Imran looked at her, his voice steady. "Because you did it for me, and because you deserve to live, not just survive." That course changed everything. Within 6 months, Aisha landed a job as an administrative assistant at a reputable law firm. The pay wasn't glamorous, but it was steady. She no longer had to clean offices at night. She could be home for her kids. She could finally breathe. She repaid the rent Imran had quietly covered. She saved for a small motorbike and surprised him with it the following year. It wasn't the same model, but when she handed him the keys, Imran laughed and said, "This one rides even better." But more than that, something deeper changed. Her children began to smile more. Her health improved. She started volunteering at a local women's center, helping others who were walking the path she had once stumbled through. And Imran? He went back to school and finished his diploma. He never made it to Dubai, but he didn't need to. He found a job locally and stayed close to his family, where he knew he was needed most. Today, Aisha is financially stable. Her children are doing well in school. And every Sunday, they all gather for dinner. Aisha, her kids, and Imran. They laugh. They share stories, and sometimes, when the moment is right, she reminds them of the day everything changed. The day her brother chose her over his own dreams. Because one selfless act doesn't just lift someone. It builds a bridge that carries generations forward. Have you ever seen someone make a sacrifice like this for their family? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear it. And if this touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more true stories that remind us what family is really about.